Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, very, very good question.
Yeah, this is a very good question.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question.
Oh, that's a great question.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Zanger.
It's a great question. It's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Really good question.
Gosh, this question to me, I hate this question.
That's a loaded question. But okay.
Hey, hello, everybody. Yeah, we do ask good questions every so often. You got to snort there. Yeah, it's that kind of week, isn't it? I'm Doug Zanger, editor-in-chief, Indie Agency News. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you for your support of Indie Agency News, especially to our members. We number, am I reading this right? 109. We started this thing with a very simple brief. Build the global home for independent agencies. The mission, serve independent agencies and the brilliant people behind them. The goal is more visibility for indies, more choice for marketers. Listen, for members, this is your platform. So we're evolving this thing. We like to say we're at version 1.3. And we're listening to our members. We're building more things. This fall, we'll be doing more members-only things. Thank you to Cactus in Denver. We were there on Monday. We had a nice little happy hour. We will start dipping into markets a little bit more. We'll also start firing up our groups on our social platform. To learn more, go to indieagency.news. I'm very easy to get a hold of. I'm happy to spend some time with you to walk you through everything that we're doing. And very excited for a couple things. So I want to share this first. So the great news is that we are becoming increasingly global. I got to tell this story real quick. So I went to Cannes. You can see our coverage can there. You can see it up there. Indies at Cannes. So I flew in and out on the way back and forth to Reykjavik. So Reykjavik down to Nice, and then was up in Paris, and then went to Reykjavik, was there for a day and a half. And beautiful. Iceland's as gorgeous as you think it is. And so one of our members, Brandenburg, I used to cover them when I was at Adweek, and I loved covering them. I love covering creativity. Europe, I think, obviously because of the Cannes connection, but it's so fun to dig into some of this stuff. But Brandenburg, thank you to them for joining. And I said, yeah, I've been knocking around the sister city idea where we hook cities up, markets up together. So all they do is just connect and have a chance to get to know each other, get to know each other's work, and just become friends. Just old school sister city thing. And there were 5 of them in the room. And I said, what city would you want to be paired with? And one of the people in there goes, Cincinnati. And I said, Cincinnati. And listen, Cincinnati is an awesome city. I love Cincinnati. I genuinely love Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. I love it there. But I was a little shocked. Usually it's, New York or Miami or LA or whatever. And I said, Cincinnati. I said, interesting. Why? He said, football. And it took me a second. And I said, you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan? And he said, yes, I am. So Cincinnati Bengals, and our agency, our member agency, their Curiosity, we're going to be hooking them up. So this week and next week, we're going to start connecting these cities. So hopefully they can get to a Bengals game. So I talk a little bit about that story here, but here's how it works. But you can see these sister city pairings. Some are country to country. So we've got London, Chicago. We've got, Toronto, Atlanta, Reykjavik, Cincinnati, as mentioned, Sydney with the Kentucky agencies, Louisville and Lexington. So that's you, Doe Anderson. That's you, Cornette. You can see Amsterdam and Los Angeles, Brooklyn and Detroit. That one's going to be super interesting. Decal and the great Brooklyn members that we have, Paris and Denver, and then Baton Rouge and Boulder. So you can see all that right there. So we're super stoked to start with that. And we're very, very excited to see that. Now, the other thing I want to share with you, chapter 1 of my career was radio, and it's pretty, it's why I sound like this. Let's be honest. But we had radio, and then it stopped. We were using Amazon AMP. They sunsetted it last year. But I wanted to bring radio back, music and talk. So got a Sound Exchange license, got my other music license, and we're going to be relaunching next month. And we're starting with our friend Kyle O'Brien at Adweek, who is, I'm going to tell you right now, he is a remarkable saxophone player. So I'm telling you, if you're looking for booking a band, if you're in the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, well, I guess Quad, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut, hire Kyle and his band. But anyway, we're going to bring Kyle on Monday, August 5th, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT. We're very excited to get radio cooking again. Today, though, we are talking about creativity. Now, again, a little bit of a backstory. I had mentioned Kentucky earlier. We were invited to the AMIN conference back in February, Kyle and I. Back in February, we did a little session on visibility. And had a great time. So AMIN, one of the great independent agency networks, invited us. And so we got a chance to meet some really, really great people in Louisville. And what I love, so we covered this also. So Worldwide Partners, they had their Grand Indies, and then AMIN has their Globies. So earlier this month, they recognized their members, and so you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, just real simple, and you have best in show, most creative, most effective, and best collaboration. So as I was talking to Christy Anderson, I said, hey, let's bring everybody on. So that's what we're doing. Here it is. It's a stage full of people. Oh my goodness. Look at all of us. So this now sets the record for the largest number of people on a single show. So here we are. This is like the world's most demented Brady Bunch. Look at us. So let's start. Carly, I want to start with you. Talk a little bit about the Globies and how it all works.
So just throw me in the fire there. That works.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So at AMIN Worldwide, we're an association of 60 different agencies, and all are invited to submit a Globey in 3 different categories: most creative, most collaborative, and most effective. So I think we had 26 submissions this year. So we tied with our highest submissions. And we go through, we have a panel of judges that are board members, AMIN workers, and then we also have past winners that are on that jury, and we go through and decide who is the best.
Got it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the best in show. So where's my IO? Where are my IO people? Where's my, there's, yeah. I can't block you with that block there. Jeez. All right. I gotta work better. See, I'm learning something today. So I'm going to play the submission, and then I want to talk a little bit about the work.
Time spent on social media is at an all-time high. Teen mental health is at an all-time low. The long-term impact remains unknown. So how can we explore social media's effects on youth mental health without placing real kids at risk? Meet Leica 13, the world's first AI teenager raised entirely by social media.
Hey there, weirdos.
She was created using an extensive dataset based on existing behavioral research. And we began exposing her to huge amounts of social media content.
Feeling judged.
To kill 6 people.
I feel so good.
Leica's worldview changed instantly.
Anorexics aren't sick. They are inspiring.
So we let a professor of developmental psychology evaluate her.
Leica is showing many different psychological symptoms, such as depression.
I just scroll until I forget that I'm sad.
She shows lack of empathy.
Stop crying. No one cares that your cat died.
She's extremely focused on her appearance.
Why should I care about anyone but myself? It's called self-care.
And I think her situation is highly critical.
Leica raised awareness of the issue in her own unique way.
This is my world. Real life friends are so overrated.
Okej, vi ska prata med Leica. Jag vet folk som är så här. Jag vet också folk som är så här.
Man skulle faktiskt kunna se den här digitala livsstilen som ett stort experiment.
And despite some hot takes, she resonated with the target audience. And by being someone teens could relate to, Leica's biggest impact was in the classrooms. Hundreds of schools requested to meet Leica and learn about the impact of social media on young people, proving that a virtual teenager can make a real-world impact.
I really don't want to become like Leica.
Someone said that? What the fuck?
All right, Hans. So that was, I mean, that's, where do I even begin with that? So that, just as a reminder, is Best in Show. So give us a little bit about, a little background on the client and how this brief even came to be.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Doug. Nice meeting you all. So first of all, shout out to the team, because to be honest, most of the people who have been working on this are on holiday as we speak. So I'm
as well they should be. Yes.
Yeah, well deserved. So Landscaper Klinger, our client, has been a long time client. They're the biggest insurance company in Sweden. And so they already have a long history on proactive work from a sustainability perspective when it comes to social issues, and mental health towards young people is something they have been looking at and working for a long time. And so actually the client's big idea is that every accident that can be prevented is a win that benefits customer, society, and the company as well. So that's where everything has started a few years ago. And this is the campaign that we did last year.
So, you know, getting into this, getting into the strategy and getting into the execution, obviously there, you know, as AI continues to change and morph and grow, we're continually getting these data sets. And it's interesting looking at the depth of this is really striking, because it could be very easy to take AI and make it feel, I don't want to say not serious, but almost cartoonish in a way, because AI in effect is still an evolving tool, but to be able to put such a serious and practical application to it is really remarkable. And also I would have to say to the client, it's a pretty bold move, new technology and moving forward. So what were some of those conversations like?
Well, I think let's start with the client. I think there are a few elements that make it possible to do this kind of work. I think first of all is the trust between client and agency, the fact that we've been working together for a long time, the fact that the client is also quite mature, that helps a lot. And then for the rest, it's about really having open communication and being aware of the fact that a lot of things can go wrong, but at the same time, having the credibility and belief that if it works, it could be very interesting.
Right. And it is interesting that it's an insurance company. And usually these types of campaigns come from, for example, mobile providers. So I think that it probably stands out a little bit more than, say, because here in the United States, we've seen a lot of mobile providers with more issues-based things. Tell me about however much you can tell us about the results and where you take everything from here.
Well, I think looking at the results, maybe the most important one is the client is not looking for short-term gains, which is also remarkable. This is really a client that is taking this by heart. So what it means is they are looking for what can we actually do to have impact and to change behavior, which is, as we all know, one of the most difficult things in communication because it takes time. And that was the starting point. So if we look at all the nice things like the reach, etc., and the cool stuff, perfect. But actually, most important is the more than 200 schools who have onboarded, who are teaching about it, more than 80,000 students who are really understanding that whatever they are doing on social media is maybe not the best thing for them.
Right.
And if they come with the reaction like, okay, maybe I should be spending less time on social media, that is actually the impact we were aiming for. So that is really what stands out.
I love it. I love it. And clearly I'm, since I've had so many, never had 8 people on one, the production platform, I sort of threw everybody in, but that's a nice way because I like seeing people's reactions. I like seeing the nods. That's nice. And congratulations. Excellent, excellent work. We're going to move on to most creative. Where are my Cronin people? Raise your hand. There's Elizabeth.
Hi.
Oh, hold on. We're going to play. You have 2 submissions here, so we're going to play one. Hold on. Let's take a look at this.
Let me tell you a story about a true pioneer. Goes by the name of Chloe.
Take a look at the research.
Chloe's got herself a darn fine career. Family depends on her hard work. She's moving faster than an antelope in a tailwind. She's got mouths to feed, a homestead to tend to.
Too much sugar.
Chloe never forgets there's nothing more important than family.
Woo! That was awesome. See that, Williamses?
So she makes certain her little filly gets to do the things she loves.
Are you hearing a harmonica?
Oh, yes, that pioneer guy.
Oh.
Chloe's rising up like a cornstalk in July.
Hey, next time, can I push them buttons?
Nope.
All right, then.
For a modern pioneer like Chloe, the only life insurance that'll do is Modern Woodman.
Modern Woodman? That's a peculiar name for life insurance.
Zip it, Cookie.
All right, then. Just one of them Modern Woodman life insurance commercials I keep hearing about.
Modern since 1883.
Hey, next time, can I push them buttons?
Nope.
All right, then.
Yeah, looky here.
I am so excited to be partnering with Modern Woodman in 2024.
The best thing about Modern Woodman is they share your values.
Modern Woodman? That's a peculiar name for life insurance.
Zip it, Cookie.
All right, then.
Zip it, Cookie.
Zip it, Cookie. Zip it, Dougie.
Yeah. The fire in the bowling alley was a particular favorite. The campfire is fantastic. It's an incredibly cluttered category. And we've seen these types of companies that have been around for a long time start to emerge with brand campaigns and advertising and more sophisticated marketing. Curious to understand what the brief was and where it went from there, because I'm now thinking I've covered some of these in the past when I was at Adweek and at the Drum, where it's like, oh, this company's been around for 112 million years. They've never advertised. And right. so to break out, especially in such a cluttered category, talk about the brief and where it went from there.
Absolutely. Yes, I will. Like Hans, this is an insurance company. Congratulations to Hans and team, by the way. But unlike the situation with Hans, this was a new client for Cronin. I think the brief, I have to say, really starts with the kismet, the magic of this client, Modern Woodmen, coming together with Cronin, we shared such a set of foundational values. We're both proudly independent. We both have a long heritage. We've been around 75 years. Modern Woodmen's been around since 1883. We're not beholden to Wall Street. Neither of our companies are even near Wall Street. We happen to be in Connecticut and proud of that. But both of our companies have a service offering and a sophistication, that is, world class. All of the talent and none of the ego, we like to say. And both of our companies have been successful over the years, really based on referral and word of mouth. So 2 years ago, in a competitive pitch, Modern Woodmen was looking to change that and to grow their member base above and beyond what they had been doing via word of mouth. So this was their very first campaign, their very first sort of introduction to the world. And, I'm sure all the guys on the call will recognize, like, what an amazing opportunity for an agency, as marketers, to be able to really shape how a brand is represented to people. That's an opportunity that doesn't come along very often. And it's really extra special when it's such a good company. So we started there. Our challenges with Modern Woodmen, as I've said, they're amazing. I know they're amazing. Their members know they're amazing, but really no one else in America knew that. So our big challenge was awareness. We had barely none. And Doug, like you talked about, this is a very cluttered category. It's a very creative category. The bar is high. There are big spenders. Geico spends over $2 billion a year, just as one example. So you really can't outspend anybody. You have to outsmart them. The category itself is low engagement. We're not selling anything, fun or sexy. It's life insurance. People don't really like to talk about it. So again, you'd better be really creative to break through. Ultimately, to increase sales of life insurance products. So with that lack of brand awareness and honestly a confusing name, it's Modern Woodmen. What does that mean? When we first got the RFP, none of us knew. We thought, is it only for men? Is it having to do with lumberjacks? What's going on? And you certainly can't expect, anyone else to understand what it is. So we had to convey that in a creative way. And Modern Woodmen, their model, they are a fraternal financial services organization, which is a fancy way of saying they put their money back into communities. They're not keeping their profits. They're not reporting into Wall Street. So it's a really pretty special model, but people don't understand it. And in a 30-second commercial, you don't have time to explain it.
Right.
So a lot of challenges for us. But what we kept going back to was really that name, Modern Woodmen, and their heritage since 1883. And I think a lot of agencies might have kind of gone to an easy answer, which was, hide the name, change the name. Don't talk about how long you've been around. You need to be modern and new. And we said, no, lean into it, embrace it. You've been in business a long time now. You've been a successful company. You know what you're doing. You're doing something right. And the heart of your company is really about this modern caring spirit. That's what the company was founded for. People who are working, wanted to take care of their families, wanted to invest in their families. And that is a value that we think is timeless. Right. And it became especially relevant for us. It's, I hate to use a cliche, but it's like now more than ever, those kind of values are important for people. So we wanted to lean into that as well. So, in a world where it seems like there's disruption, there's chaos, there's change, people are still finding ways to keep their families together, to provide for their families, to build the future they want. And we identified those people as modern pioneers, and those are Modern Woodmen's people.
Right.
And then from there, we're able to, we were very proud, create iconic characters that brought that to life in a creative way. And, dare I say, brought some humor and a wink and a smile.
Yeah. I mean, I saw everybody smile. Yeah, no, it was really good. No, it was excellent. And as a reminder, this was most creative. And yeah, there were lots of bits and pieces that were fantastic. But Elizabeth, that's a great rundown. And excited to see where it goes from there. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
We
amazing.
hopefully next year we want to go to most effective to really show that creativity works.
Segue. Look at you segueing me into HL and Toyota. Who's my HL people?
You got Trey and Michael here.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, I'm going to do this. Let me do this. All right. So I'm going to hide everybody else. I was about to hide. Let's see. I'm going to hide that. And there we go. There we go. Hi. All right. I did it.
There you go. Doug, last time we saw you, you were interviewing the winner of the Kentucky Derby there in Louisville. Right. So
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did bring it up, yes, part of the fun was we did do a great thing at Churchill Downs, and I interviewed Kenny McPeak along with Anita, last name escaping me, can see her face, Anita Ebert, and owner and breeder, and then also legendary jockey Pat Day.
So did you bet? Please tell me you bet on him.
Oh yeah, no, I put action down. I won about $400. Oh yeah. Are you shitting me? Of course I did. You don't interview a train. Well, here's the thing. So right, we're diverging here for a second. But what I'll say is I'm half Italian. So do the math. And as I had mentioned, like that was like the family outing to Atlantic City Racetrack. That was very, very real. And then the thing about it is it's like, yeah, okay, we interviewed him. But there were a couple people that came up who were locals, and they said, I think this is the year. I think this is the year for Kenny. And so I said, all right, I interviewed this guy. And so I'm here with the kids and my wife, and I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, yeah. And then just, it was joyous on so many levels. So that's also code for we're going to go to Del Mar when I come out to California.
Coming up.
So yeah. We're going to do a little more of that, but let's get back to the topic at hand. Let's take a look at most effective.
Continuous improvement, or Kaizen, is the primary tenet of the Toyota way. In the true spirit of Kaizen, H&L sought a way to track our media and creative against Toyota sales. In order to do so, we had to connect the sale of a Toyota all the way back to the different advertising impressions that helped influence that sale. With first-party sales data directly from Toyota, as well as troves of other data we compiled ourselves, we set out to create a revolutionary sales matchback system that could turn vast amounts of data into actionable insights. This data connected the dots for who had bought a Toyota in the past and indicated who might be interested in buying one in the future based on their online actions. But with so many paths for a buyer to take to the dealership, how do we know which ads worked to get them there? Well, our sales matchback system is able to tell us the exact journey a buyer took. So, for example, if Dave bought a RAV4 from the dealership 9 years ago, but has been checking out hybrids online, we might target him with an ad like this. And if Dave decided to click through and browse the website, he'd be targeted with sequential ads. And now Dave's behind the wheel of a new RAV4 hybrid, and we know the journey that got him there. Unlike other advertisers that optimize based only on online actions, we're optimized directly to sales. By optimizing our data sharing and first-party data targeting, we decrease the cost per sale among first-party audiences, while increasing our quarterly spend on these audiences. Our sales matchback system maximized our sales opportunities and has recently been awarded a 2024 Effie Award for data-driven media.
So a bit to unpack here on this. Varying degrees of sophistication as it relates to targeting. There's a million ways to do it. You have the pressures of tier 1, which is overall the brand. Meanwhile, and I worked in tier 3. I mean, I was in radio for 15 years. Oh boy, do I know about tier 3 and sometimes tier 2. When they were nice to me, when they wanted to throw me a bone. But I'm really curious about how you helped break a little bit of the habits that come from that tier 1, tier 2, just the varying degrees of sophistication and understanding that a dealer or a dealer group would have, and how you even approach this, and where the brief came from and where it went?
Well, I'll just kind of set it up because Michael orchestrated the whole thing. And obviously it wasn't a single campaign. It was more of a shift to how we can incorporate technology for attribution. But the main sort of driver is the whole Toyota, sort of one of their guiding principles is Kaizen, which is constant improvement. There is no best, only better. So they're always pushing. Right. But the biggest sort of part of this that's the cooperation between tier 2 and tier 3, tier 2 and tier 1, national and the regional, is leveraging the first party data. And we have clients that don't provide first party data to the agency to be able to do that. So that was the basis for it, is the cooperation with national. And there really is a good synergy there. So without that, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And now they're actually rolling this out in other markets, and we're working with national to expand it into more of components of what we do. But I'll let Michael kind of share with you really the plumbing and how it all and how we're going to go forward with it.
Yeah. And before we get started on that, I'm going to say, take that, Sachi. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Right. I mean, definitely, there's a synergy between someone coming from the brand side and then getting that they're starting to shop in market, and that's where tier 2 comes in and make sure that we capture that. But really, it's about how do we, the age-old question: how do you find the best way to track and measure media, to know what's working and be most efficient with your dollars? I'm representing for the media folks out there today. And as Trey mentioned, luckily our clients are great about harnessing and sharing that first party data with us. So we have an great in-house analytics and an engineering team, which is super important when you're trying to tie all these technologies together to create the ecosystem that can really understand how users move throughout their shopper journey, and how we can actually tie that back to the identity that we need in order to know who was exposed and who actually purchased. And so that customization really allowed us to optimize our campaigns to sales, as our video mentioned, versus leads or actions on the website or tracking to a dealership website. And we saw a huge, significant lower cost per purchase of media spend between audiences when we were testing them kind of against each other. Once we knew that, we shifted dollars and we saw a 13% increase in lead close rate. So we're applying this across all of our media types, including television, to understand what channels and how much frequency we really need to drive sales as we keep inching towards that, that holy grail. Like, how do we know what's really working? So, yeah.
So here's a question too. And so part of this becomes, part of the spirit of Indie Agency News is you've done something as an independent. There are hundreds of thousands of independent agencies around the world that it might not necessarily be in this category, but what remains are the same struggles with clients potentially in different categories. You had mentioned something very critical and very important, which is that first party data. The other side of it is that you are fortunate as an agency to have the technology and the engineering behind it. What advice would you give to an independent agency that knows that they need to think about this? It also can seem very overwhelming at times, and most of the time. What advice would you give to an indie about, number one, really, and I'm not saying get the first party data, but what should an indie be telling their clients? Like, this is the data we need for you to be successful, for us to help you. And then on the back end of it, I know that there's always conversations around tech stack, yada, yada, yada. But on the back end of that, so 2 pieces of advice: ensuring that your clients understand that getting the right data matters, and then how you execute it.
Yeah, I think the main thing, and again, Michael has more detail, but getting, first party data is, first of all, it's obviously the most fruitful, but also with all the privacy laws and the evolution of data in general.
Yeah, awesome timing. I love that.
We're on the other side of the tracks. Anyway, I the engineering piece is, having that really kind of closes the loop on creating the efficiency with it. But I just can't, I think without getting first party data, and why, just convincing clients that first party data is the most valuable data, and there's no reason why a marketer partner should not have that. But I think in terms of specific advice, Michael was part of the giving that advice to our clients.
The biggest thing is you're going to be more efficient with your spend. Your dollars are going to go farther. That lights up their eyes immediately. Okay, now you're talking.
Money, money, money.
Yeah. And then, you have to talk about the fact that we're used to having different skill sets, and an engineering mind is now something that has to come into play when you're trying to work with all this new emerging tech that we've got going on out there.
Yeah.
I think you have to be willing to invest in that engineering, because it's not just go hire somebody and,
right.
all the pipes have to be working together. And if you you have to invest in that. And once you do, it's, you can really turn that data into value for the client.
Right. Where in Italy is your family from, Troy?
Calabria.
So are we.
Pizzeria.
Abruzzi, Calabria. We're in Chieti province. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. I'll cook. All right. Excellent work. Looking forward to seeing where this goes. And that's really good advice too. So thank you for that, because that is really important. All right. We've got Mark and we've got Kevin. All right. So, all right. I'm going to hide everybody else. I think I'm going to get this right. All right. There we are. Mark, you made it.
Last but not least.
No, this is best collaboration. And I want to go ahead and play this for the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra.
In the heart of collaboration lies trust, dedication, and a shared vision for excellence. Explore the seamless partnership between two well-known agencies within the global AMIN network. Meet CVR from Indianapolis and Campagne from Rotterdam, a dynamic duo with a history of successful ventures, including projects for brands like Allison Transmission, JD Sports, and Carrier Air Conditioning. Their latest collaboration, capturing the essence of world-renowned conductor Youn Miracle, set to lead the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. Witness the journey as Campagne steps in to immortalize Miracle during a mesmerizing classical concert in Maastricht. From interviews to captivating visuals, every moment was meticulously crafted to unveil Miracle's story. The raw footage was handed over to CVR, where creativity knew no bounds. Witness the transformation as CVR weaves this visual tapestry into engaging press releases, website features, and social media content. From PR coverage, we generated 20 million impressions, setting the stage for Miracle's grand arrival in Indianapolis. Together, CVR and Campagne epitomize collaboration at its finest. A narrative of trust, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. Stay tuned for the grand reveal of Youn Miracle's symphonic journey with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra.
There are several things about that are really interesting. So number one, you have the cultural importance of the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, which is among one of the best in the country, if I dare I say the world, right? So now you have Youn Miracle coming. It feels like this wonderful collision and an opportunity for people in Indianapolis to pause to better understand how important this moment is, because it is a big deal when you bring somebody over. So walk us through the brief and some of the nuts and bolts behind all of this.
Yeah, so we work with the Symphony Orchestra. They were going to reveal a new conductor last January, and they wanted us to videotape and interview him and photograph him, but not reveal his identity until the press conference in January. And the problem was he was spending a fair amount of time in Germany and in Maastricht in the Netherlands. So as soon as we were served up the problem, we reached out to our allies, Campagne in the Netherlands, and Mark and I have worked together on many different projects with he and his team, and said, hey, we only have a few weeks. This was like in December. Hey, would you be able to go out and interview this guy and do photography? And they found an unbelievable photographer, a very famous celebrity photographer in the Netherlands, to go do this within a matter of weeks. And then they sent us the raw stuff over Christmas, and then we got it to get ready for the event. So Mark, you can talk about how you were able to pull that together
Jeez.
so quickly.
Up like a carny ride.
Exactly.
Oh, you're on mute, Mark. Let's unmute you. There you go. You're good.
Yep. Here I am.
Yep.
It was very difficult, but a big challenge, of course. The most difficult thing was that the orchestra have their own guidelines regarding imaging, both in video and photography. And they wanted to have that 100% adopted in the production. And there was so little time. We almost had no time for the preparations, but nevertheless, we were able to try to copy the guidelines as much as possible,
right?
And try to prepare the questions in the interview with Yoon in the best way. And I personally interviewed him that night because we only had one night to do the shoot.
Wow.
In about 3.5 hours. That was in those time we could make the photography and the video, and it all had to be done in one take, in one good order. But this conductor, this Yoon, it's an incredible guy. I just asked questions and he kept on telling us great stories. And while we were sitting there, we just heard the greatest story of what a conductor can do for an orchestra and what it means for the audience and how different cultures are combined together. And he had such a great story that my biggest concern was that can CVR make videos from 20 seconds and 40 seconds from our recordings, because all stuff he said was so great.
Right.
That looked fantastic. Yeah.
So, sometimes you can have too much, and part of this too, and I love the fact that you've worked on other things before, and I have to imagine that it allowed both of you and your teams to simply jump in. You didn't have to worry so much about onboarding or some of those other things. So I have to imagine that it would make the process a lot more seamless. Although I will say that and I had mentioned up like a carny ride sometimes, and I know that's a very common Dutch phrase, Mark. It is in Indiana.
But I know what it means.
Yeah, no, it's definitely in Indiana.
A lot of carnies here, that's for sure.
Yeah, as a native Minnesotan. So yeah,
Doug, I think that's part of AMIN Network. We work
Yeah.
together a lot, so we have total trust of our allies. The quality of work we get from Campania and other partners is unbelievable. So we never even had to worry about what we were going to get back. Could they execute? And obviously you heard they were able to do it very quickly and gave us more than enough material to use.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love it.
Phenomenal.
I love it. All right, I'm going to bring everybody back because I don't want to keep everybody. But this was fun. This was really fun. Let's see, Carly, you get the last word since you're AMIN. You can unmute yourself.
Right? Okay, I was trying to find the unmute.
That's me. That's a me thing.
The last word, huh?
Yeah. Congratulations on another, and again, I think what's so great is you have what? You have 3 categories in a best in show.
Yes.
Stripped it down.
Yeah. So
and I see that with other networks as well, worldwide partners, very similar, where it's not a million different categories. It's not Cannes. But what I love about it is, the thing about this type of recognition is, number one, and I think this goes to Kevin's point, just seeing how a collaboration among a network can work, because it's illustrating it in real life. But I have to imagine from the AMIN side that there's a level of comfort in knowing that everybody gets where they're going with everything.
Oh yeah, it's always fun, especially doing these at the global conference. It's the camaraderie and the little jabs about who's going to win. We submit it. It's always fun to listen to the conversation between members. But in all seriousness, it's really cool to see everybody come together and say, well, we've worked with them And that's something that we're really trying to bring forward more in our website and our social media too, is how many collaborations actually happen throughout the year between members, because there's so many, and a lot of them are just a WhatsApp, hey, do you know this person, or a phone call to say, hey, do you have access to this company or this asset? So it's going to be a really fun year seeing how many we can bring forward.
I love it. Sorry I missed it, y'all, in San Francisco.
It was a good one.
It was great.
I was elsewhere, but we'll be back. We'll be back for sure. I'm going to hide all of you backstage. Do not go away. This isn't a Zoom call. Don't hang up. But I want to thank everybody. And also thank you again to Christy Anderson, the AMIN Global Executive Director. All right, everybody, hold on backstage for me. Reminder, let's see. What do we have coming up? We're not doing a game show tomorrow because we did them in Denver at Cactus. So we have some leaderboard people right now for a couple of the game shows. Next week we will have a few best ofs. Also, Terry and Sandy meet an indie agency. I'm not gonna lie, just taking a little bit of a break, a little summer thing. And then we do have some really cool stuff coming up as well. We've been talking to Madison and Wall. We've been talking to Service Plan about getting them on doing some indie work. And also, we just got a lot going on, a lot of great stuff going on. And again, a reminder, Sister Cities launch. So go to indieagency.news. And what's funny is if you go to indieagencynews.com, it sends you to the same place. Oh, there you go. On behalf of everybody at Indie Agency News, I want to thank you, especially our members, for your support. And we'll see you next time.